The story unfolds in the rugged hill country of Ephraim, a time of tribal disunity and spiritual confusion in Israel. Here lived a man named Micah in a small, isolated homestead.
I lived in a time where the Israelites often strayed from their covenant with God, dabbling in the practices of the Canaanite peoples around them.
This spiritual ambiguity set the stage for Micah's tragic missteps. Micah was a man of some means, possessing enough wealth to support his family and engage in ventures that hinted at his spiritual restlessness.
The lack of centralized authority and the absence of strong prophetic voices contributed to a climate where personal interpretations of faith held sway.
This atmosphere of religious uncertainty made Micah vulnerable to the allure of idolatry. Micah's story is not just a historical account, it's a timeless parable.
We often seek spiritual shortcuts, looking for easy answers and tangible signs, rather than engaging in the difficult work of true faith.
Micah's actions mirror our own propensity to construct idols of comfort and convenience. The narrative begins with an act of theft. This theft sets in motion a chain of events that will ultimately lead to Micah's downfall. It reveals a fundamental flaw in his character, a willingness to compromise moral principles for personal gain. This act of dishonesty foreshadows the deeper spiritual transgressions that will follow. The narrative takes a dramatic turn when 1,100 shekels of silver are stolen from Micah's mother. This substantial sum represents a significant portion of the family's wealth.
The stolen silver becomes a symbol of the broken trust and fractured relationships that characterize Micah's world.
Micah's mother, a formidable woman, pronounces a bitter curse upon the thief. Her words carry weight, reflecting the power of maternal pronouncements in ancient Israelite society. The curse hangs heavy over the household, creating an atmosphere of fear and suspicion.
The curse also underscores the vulnerability and insecurity that permeated life in that era.
The story then reveals that the culprit is none other than Micah himself. His confession exposes the hypocrisy at the heart of his character.
Overcome with guilt and fear of the curse, I confess my deed. I return the stolen silver to my mother, relieved to have averted the potential consequences of her curse.
His relief, however, is short-lived, as his mother's reaction takes an unexpected turn. The return of the silver does not restore the broken trust within the family. Upon receiving the returned silver, Micah's mother's initial anger subsides. She experiences a surge of religious fervor, dedicating a portion of the silver to the Lord. Her intention is to create a carved image and a molten image.
Blessed be my son by the Lord.
Her actions demonstrate the syncretistic tendencies of the time, blending elements of Israelite faith with pagan practices. 200 shekels of the silver are given to a silversmith. He fashions the idols according to her instructions.
The creation of the idols marks a decisive step away from the true worship of Yahweh.
Micah's mother unknowingly sets her son on a path of spiritual ruin.
With the idols installed in my house, I establish a personal shrine. I create an ephod and teraphim, further solidifying my departure from Orthodox Israelite faith.
These objects, associated with divination and pagan worship, represent Micah's embrace of a syncretistic religion. The establishment of the shrine marks the culmination of Micah's spiritual rebellion. The creation of the idols is a pivotal moment in Micah's story. It represents his attempt to control the spiritual realm, to create a god in his own image. Micah's story serves as a cautionary tale against the dangers of syncretism. Micah appoints one of his sons as his priest. My actions reflect a broader trend in ancient Israelite society. The temptation to blend Israelite faith with Canaanite practices was a constant struggle. This act of self-appointment highlights the lack of true spiritual leadership in the land. The establishment of Micah's personal shrine creates a semblance of religious order within his household. However, this sense of order is built on a foundation of falsehood. Micah's shrine becomes a symbol of his spiritual blindness and his rejection of the true God. The shrine, intended to bring peace, ultimately leads to further spiritual decay. Micah's actions reflect a desire for spiritual control and a rejection of the true God's sovereignty. He creates a priesthood within our own household, solidifying his control over the spiritual realm. Section 5, a wandering Levite. The narrative then introduces a new character, a young Levite from Bethlehem in Judah.
Yes, but I'm wandering through the land seeking employment.
His presence highlights the social and economic instability of the time. The Levites' wandering reflects the breakdown of traditional social structures and the lack of opportunity for those trained in religious service. The Levites' arrival at Micah's house is a fateful encounter.
Welcome to my home. I offer you a position as my personal priest.
The Levites' willingness to serve in Micah's household shrine further blurs the lines between true faith and idolatry.
Thank you. I accept your offer.
This arrangement benefits both parties. Micah gains a priest to officiate at his shrine, lending it a semblance of authenticity.
Now I know that the Lord will be good to me since I have a Levite as my priest.
This statement reveals Micah's profound misunderstanding of God's character and requirements. He believes that outward religious rituals performed by a designated priest are sufficient to guarantee God's blessing. Section 6. A priestly pact. Micah formalizes his agreement with the Levite. He offers him an annual salary, clothing, and board in exchange for his priestly services.
I will provide you with an annual salary, clothing, and board.
The exchange of goods and services for spiritual leadership underscores the corruption of true worship.
I accept your offer. The stability and security are what I need.
The Levite accepts Micah's offer, content with the stability and security it provides. He seemingly disregards the unorthodox nature of Micah's shrine and the implications of serving as a priest in a setting that deviates so drastically from established religious practice.
Now I know that the Lord will be good to me, for I have a Levite as my priest.
Micah rejoices at having secured a Levite priest. He believes that his household shrine is now complete, fully equipped to ensure God's favor. The agreement between Micah and the Levites solidifies the establishment of the household shrine. It creates a sense of normalcy and legitimacy around Micah's idolatrous practices. This sense of normalcy, however, masks the underlying spiritual corruption. Section 7. Micah's delusion. Micah's confidence in his fabricated religious system stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of God's character.
Now I know that the Lord will be good to me, for I have a Levite as my priest.
Micah's actions demonstrate the dangers of self-deception and the human tendency to create gods in our own image. He equates the presence of a Levite priest with God's favor, ignoring the fundamental importance of obedience to God's law. Micah's focus on outward appearances blinds him to the true nature of worship. He substitutes ritual for relationship, form for substance. Micah's story serves as a warning against the dangers of straying from God's revealed truth. The story of Micah's idols highlights the human tendency to seek security and comfort in tangible objects and rituals. However, this sense of security is ultimately illusory. Section 8. The Danites' discovery. The narrative takes another turn with the arrival of the Danites. This tribe, seeking territory of their own, sends out spies to explore the land.
Yes, I serve as the priest here at Micah's shrine.
The Danite spies encounter the young Levite at Micah's house. They inquire about the nature of the shrine and the Levite's role within it. The Levite's responses reveal the extent to which Micah's unorthodox religious practices have gained a semblance of legitimacy. The Danites, impressed by the presence of a Levite priest and the apparent sanctity of Micah's shrine, take note of its location. They plan to return later with their tribe to claim the idols and the Levite for themselves. The encounter foreshadows the impending conflict and the further corruption of religious practice. Section 9. A stolen priesthood. The Danites return with their tribe and seize the idols, the ephod, the teraphim, and the molten image from Micah's household shrine. They also coerce the Levite into joining them, offering him a more prestigious position as priest to their entire tribe.
Give me back my idols and my priest.
Micah, upon discovering the theft, gathers his clansmen and pursues the Danites. He confronts them, demanding the return of his idols and his priest. However, the Danites, stronger in number and emboldened by their acquisition of religious artifacts, refuse to relinquish their prize. Micah's pleas fall on deaf ears. The Danites threaten Micah and his clansmen, warning them against further pursuit. Fearing for their safety, Micah and his men reluctantly return home, empty-handed and disillusioned. Section 10. The Bitter Harvest. Micah's story concludes on a somber note. He is left with nothing but the bitter realization that his attempts to manipulate God's favor have failed. Micah's experience serves as a cautionary tale against the dangers of syncretism and the human tendency to create gods in our own image. The story of Micah's idols highlights the importance of genuine faith and obedience to God's word. True worship is not about outward displays of piety or the performance of rituals, but about a heartfelt relationship with the one true God. Micah's misguided attempts to secure God's favor through material objects and fabricated religious practices ultimately lead to spiritual emptiness and disappointment. The narrative underscores the importance of discerning true religious leadership from false prophets. The story of Micah's idols serves as a timeless reminder of the importance of seeking truth and adhering to God's revealed will. True spiritual fulfillment is not found in material possessions or fabricated religious systems, but in a genuine relationship with the divine.